From CPS to foster care and family court, many families are starting to notice a pattern. The truth of these patterns is deep, all the way to unhealed generational trauma we are born with, inherited in our nervous system, made of the DNA of our ancestors, co-creating patterns of injustice, child separation, family conflict, state overreach, and more. Science studies the relationship between us and our ancestors in a scientific field called epigenetics. Let's look at foster care as an example. According to federal data, up to 400,000 children in the U.S. are in foster care each year. Millions more experience psychiatric or state intervention. When the state takes you as a child, it can set up a repetition compulsion as an adult, and this can be passed on down the generational line. The pattern looks something like this. Let's just take away the 10 o'clock separated from family because it's in the wrong order. So it's taken by authority, right? It could be CPS, it could be arrested by officers, it could be a 5150, you're taken by authority. Then you're placed someplace that you don't want to be, whether it's foster care, jail, psychiatric hospital. Feelings of being trapped, powerless, and alone are there. And then you're released. You have a visit with the family, maybe you go home, maybe you're out of jail, out of the psych hospital, and you have a hope that things are getting back to normal. To then just be taken by authority again. So if you're taken by authority as a foster child, you can be taken by authority then as an adult. That's part of the repetition compulsion with this underlying theme going through the entire thing. For the science people out there, former foster youth are 2 to 4 times more likely to be arrested and incarcerated in adulthood. So this is the stats supporting what I'm saying. When the unhealed trauma is in your nervous system and is in your subconscious mind, it impacts your life. These are patterns that repeat across generations until they're resolved. They are live in the DNA, in the epigenetics, in the subconscious mind. So whether you're the first generation that had state involvement, that could also be a part of the repetition compulsion, or you know that it's been in your family line for a while. These are things that when you heal it in you, you are the change that we want to see in the world. This iceberg is a famous picture that Sigmund Freud would use to explain the unconscious mind. So above the level of water is the conscious mind, and it knows just a very little bit about what's going on. Below the water is a deep iceberg, your unconscious mind, and it's in charge of creating 80 to 95% of reality. Depends on which theorist you look at. But neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, shamanic traditions are all pointing to the same thing. In this iceberg, underneath the layer, the depth of who you are, is where these generational patterns, these unhealed wounds are. Luckily for us, we can function with the conscious mind, and we can go to work and have a job and, go on a date, go out to dinner, whatever, and function, but the unconscious stuff still needs to be healed. If you're in a situation like CPS or court, hundreds of unhealed patterns can be contributing to its co-creation. Chainbreaker interrupts over 100 of these patterns at their root, including patterns of being separated from your children and detainment. I made this so it can be accessible for us to heal ourselves and co-create a peaceful and harmonious world. Break the pattern and reclaim your life. Developed by Dr. Lauren Pichard, founder of Ascension Psychology. Start healing today.